This is episode 1 of the BSB show. I'm your host, Amira Lamb, and today's bold, strong beauty is Shannon Dey. Shannon is the founder and CEO of Bombshell Fitness and Team Bombshell, which is the largest team in the competitive figure and bikini scenes. Bombshell Fitness has well over 1,000 clients in 30 countries, has produced over 80 IFBB pro athletes, 2 IFBB Pro Bikini Olympia champions, and several Arnold champions. Besides running Bombshell Fitness, Shannon promotes 3 amazing shows in Florida. Shannon also is a contributor for Muscle and Fitness Hers, Fitness RX for Women magazine, GNC magazine, and NPC News Online. I hope you enjoy this interview. Welcome, Shannon, to the show. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I wanted to ask you, you've been in the industry for a long time, so what's your story? How did you get into the fitness and competitive fitness industries?
Oh, geez. I actually started teaching aerobics back in the late 80s. I was 19 in Bally's Fitness Club. I started teaching aerobics, and then from there, I just kept going with it. And let's see, what year was that? Around 95, I was cheering in the NFL for the Chiefs. So there was a girl that I cheered with who was an IFBB fitness pro. Back then, there was only bodybuilding and fitness. So she was a fitness pro, and when she ran around the field, people would be like, "It's the girl with the abs, it's the girl with the abs." And I thought, I want to be the girl with the abs. So she introduced me to the sport, and I started training. And actually, I didn't do my first show until I believe it was 2001, and competed as a fitness competitor. Got my pro card in 2003 and spent a couple of years in the pros. And during that time, I was in the gym business and had a woman approach me that said, "I want you to train me for shows." And I said, "I don't do that. That's not what I do. I don't do that." And so she kept asking and asking and asking. And finally, I said, "Listen, I'll train you for the show, but it's going to cost you this much." And I gave her this really stupid number. And she said, "Okay." And I said, "Okay, well, then I train people for shows." so, so that started it. She won the overall at that show. And then it just kind of went from there. So it's really been just a progressive thing that has just kept going over the years.
Oh, so what year did Bombshell come into existence?
Well, I started, that first girl I trained was in 2006. It was in July of '06.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't found the company until January of 2007.
Oh, okay. All right, because it seems like Bombshell started with a huge bang, but then since I joined Bombshell in 2013, it seems like it's really transformed. Was there a pivotal or aha moment that brought this on?
No, actually, it's kind of funny. Like I said, the one client started in 2006, and
Mm-hmm.
then from there, I had girls just wanting to come on board and referrals and this and that, and it's just grown organically, and that's what's so great about it. I really believe that anything in life that you're supposed to be doing, it's not easy. There's so much work, but you don't have to fight against it to happen. It happens. When you put in the hard work and you put in the dedication and you have the ideas, it just flows. And Bombshell has done that. It has just kind of flowed. And yes, the last few years we've started training mainstream women and pageant women, which has been a lot of fun. And that came from so many women who saw our girls, in the magazines or online or whatever, who said, "I want to look like that, but I don't know if I want to compete." And I thought, well, why can't we help them too? So that just all kind of has really kept rolling in that direction.
Mm-hmm. All right, you have a staff of coaches all around the U.S. and members all around the world, and now multiple programs. You must never sleep. Shannon, what's your typical schedule like?
Well, actually, I do. I have to have my sleep. I'm sorry. I do sleep. But I pretty much work constantly. I mean, I'm always working, always doing something. And my day starts at 5 a.m. and I'm up online checking things and going through things. Uh, I do my cardio every morning and then get ready and then commute to work and spend the day here at the office and then go home and keep working for a while and then go to bed. I mean, it's when you own a company, you have to really be dedicated to it. And I love the company. I love what I do. I do take time, like on Saturdays, I'll say, okay, I'm completely turning, if I'm at home and not at a show, I'll say, I'm turning off my computer now. I don't even take my phone with me when I leave the house. There are times where you have to step away, but if you don't love what you do and you don't love it enough to want it to be a part of your life, pretty much a big part of your life, then it's probably not what you should be doing. So I don't know if that answers your question.
That answers the question, yes. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned since starting Bombshell Fitness?
Oh my goodness. Geez Louise, follow your own path and don't worry about what other people think. That's a biggie. You know, I've learned that you will always have good and bad, especially, with the company, and especially when you're working with multiple people, you have good and bad, and you have to weigh, if your good outweighs your bad, then life is good. So just learning to not take criticism to heart and not be upset by what certain people say. As long as you know in your heart that you're doing the right thing, then those things don't matter. In the beginning, it was hard because, as anyone, when you're criticized, it can be hurtful. But I learned over the years that, as long as you're doing the right thing, it's all okay.
Yeah, speaking of criticisms, some people in the competition world say that bombshell programming is cookie cutter. How would you respond to that?
I know that makes me giggle. Here's the funny thing is, in every single month, we have over 100 new plan combinations based on different body types, different goals, different, progress, different, if a girl's a competitor, the time out from her show, if she's a pageant girl, the time out from her pageant, if she's getting ready for a wedding, the time out from her wedding. So there are so many different combinations of different plans that we send out. There's no way anything is cookie cutter. Of course, there's certain exercises. When I write workout plans, there's certain exercises I love because they work. So they're going to be in almost everybody's plans. I mean, I think that's kind of where it comes from. If somebody says, oh, well, I have that exercise in my plan. Well, of course you do. It works. I mean, why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If something works, you're going to put it in a plan. Just like with food plans, Jennifer Strobo is our staff nutritionist, and she is freaking phenomenal. And she'll put seasonal items in the meal plans so that, you can enjoy some seasonal items. Like, let's say it's December and there's a lot of pumpkin stuff out. She might put a little pumpkin spice on something, whatever. But most everybody's going to have it, but that doesn't mean everybody's plan's the same. So I think that's kind of where it comes from. And, people like to say what they like to say, but they're not cookie cutter. There's plenty of different options.
Right. For women who say they don't want to get bulky, what's your usual response?
That excessive forklifting, not weightlifting, makes you bulky. Actually, I do say that. It's funny that I don't hear that as much anymore that I used to when I first started getting into weight training and all that. Women were so crazy about that. These days, I think people are getting more educated and you don't hear that as much as you used to. There are variations in training for, how much muscle that you want as a woman. As you know, it's very difficult for women to grow muscle. You can, but it takes very specific training. It takes proper nutrition. And so, I don't think that, I don't know, a big deal anymore. And I think one of the things at Bombshell that we've done is we do offer varying levels of training for women that want to look different ways within that same bombshell curvy body.
All right. That makes sense. You've been in the fitness industry for a long time and have seen every trend in the book. What are the trends in diet and fitness that you're happy to see, and which ones do you wish would go away?
Oh, geez. I do like that people are finally starting to see that in the fitness industry, in the competitive end, is that it's a lifestyle, not a life alter. I think that's starting to sink in. Early on, bikini and figure and all that was based on bodybuilding, and bodybuilders back in the day would bulk up over the winter and then they'd shred down in the summer for shows. And so the women kind of took that same approach, and some still do, but I think that it's starting to to not be so much that way, in that women are learning, I don't have to gain 20 pounds to gain some muscle. I don't have to yo-yo up and down. I can actually live this lifestyle. So I'm happy to see that. Some of the trends that I don't think are so great are those who say that you don't have to eat clean, you don't have to do cardio in order to look like a competitor. Well, that may be true. You can get there without doing some of these things, but where did the health and fitness go? That bothers me. Looking like you're in shape without actually being fit. What kind of message is that sending? And that, to me, isn't a good message that we're trying to teach the rest of the world. Do it the right way. Do it with health involved. And obviously, it's going to have your health benefits, needless to say, but also it's much more, attainable long term. So that little trend is a little, I'm not really big on that one, but I do enjoy the fact that people are finally starting to see it as a lifestyle rather than just something temporary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to start talking about the competition world. Do you think that anybody and everybody can compete, or do you feel like you have to have the right genetics for it?
No, I think that anyone can compete. Good Lord, my genetics were anything but perfect, and I got a pro card.
Mm.
You can work with what you have. And is everyone going to be Miss Olympia? Absolutely not. However, you don't have to win shows, win a national contest, be a pro, any of that, to get the great benefits of learning the discipline, of learning about yourself, of inspiring other people just by being you and becoming better. You don't have to, be Miss Olympia to do that. So I think that anyone can do it, and you can really change your shape to a certain point, no matter what your genetics are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. What non-physical qualities do you feel are necessary to make for a successful competitor? Successful in general, not necessarily winning.
Oh my goodness. There's a huge psychological aspect to this, and I'm actually in the middle of my PhD in sports psychology, and this whole thing really brought me to that field of study. And there's a huge component of self-belief, and it sounds so simple, but there's actually studies that show that self-belief and believing in yourself creates success. And in this sport, you have to believe in yourself because it's a sport of time. The changes don't happen overnight. It takes time to get there. You have to, believe in the end result enough that you are willing to continue and persevere over time. You also, a big thing in it is that you can't be overly emotional about your body. And this is something I preach all the time that is very difficult for women. We are taught from the time we're little, oh my gosh, you're sad, go eat a cookie. Oh my gosh, I'm fat, I'm going to go eat a pizza. I mean, women are they use their food and their emotions in relation to their body from the time they're very young. If you can take that emotion out of it and realize that your body is a machine that responds to what you put into it, and then the output that you create through exercise, you're going to be so much better off, because your body's not going to respond. If you're crying because you think you're fat, your body's not going to respond to that. It's useless. But your body will respond to putting in the correct fuel, to doing the right output, it responds to those things as a machine. If you can take the emotion out of it, you can just really start to soar in this, because it turns into a completely different ballgame.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that competing is healthy on a physical and or emotional level?
There's so much out there right now about, is competing healthy, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
My take on that is nobody talked like this years ago, which really is just funny. No one spoke of, oh my gosh, competing caused this, competing caused that. No one even talked about things like that. It wasn't an issue. I think the internet has created a lot of that hype. Unfortunately, some people do get into the sport because they have food issues, because they're trying to self-help and get over a food issue. So they think, okay, if I have this goal and I have this thing I want to do, it's going to keep me from binging, or it's going to keep me from these self-destructive habits. And unfortunately, if they come in with those issues, they can be exasperated by controlling their diet, by being concerned with the way their body looks. It can be exasperated. So I think if you come in with a predisposed issue, it's probably not the best idea. I think that if someone has a healthy outlook on food and a healthy outlook on their physical appearance, it's great. I mean, I really feel like competing can help you learn a lot about yourself. It can learn how strong you truly are. You know, if you can be disciplined enough to follow a nutrition plan when there's food at every turn, if you can be disciplined enough to get up early in the morning to get your cardio in because you have a life, if you can do all these things, you realize that you can accomplish pretty much anything. So I think that it is a great way to become healthier, learn about yourself, as long as you come in with the correct perspective.
Mm. All right. When people attribute successes on stage to politics, what's your response to that?
That makes me giggle. That one's so funny because here's the thing. It's so much easier to say that you didn't win because of politics. Have you ever heard anyone say, man, I won that show and it was all political? Isn't it awesome? No one says that. No one ever says when they win, it was on their merit. When they don't win, it was due to politics. It's just silly. The judges, you have to understand, these judges are judging shows every single weekend. There are so many shows everywhere. They can't keep track of who's with who does this. It's not possible. I have a real issue with that because to me, it's a lot of excuses. Most of the time, if we are honest with ourselves and we look at the top 5 in the show, they should have been the top 5. And not to say that people don't get overlooked. People get overlooked all the time. How? Because it goes so fast for no other reason, but because the shows go fast and there's so many competitors. But for the most part, the top 5 is the top 5. Now, if you kind of look at it and you say, well, maybe third should have said first or second should have been fourth, they're usually so close that it's the luck of the draw. So, the whole political thing, I've never liked to get into that because I just don't see it. I'm in the trenches. I'm at shows every single weekend, and it's not something that I really have experienced.
All right. When people compete, they tend to experience a high that's then followed by a low, or in some cases, depression. Would you say that's normal?
I do believe that some people suffer from depression after a show simply because here you had this goal and you were so focused and you were so, just raring to go and it was on your mind and occupied your time and it was part of your everyday and it was an excitement and people were telling you how great you looked and you got a lot of positive feedback, and then the show's over and it's done. So, it's human nature to have a letdown period after something like that. Just like any other event, people get so excited for vacation and they think about it all the way to it, and then they enjoy their vacation, they have a great time, and then it's back to work and it's like, holy mama, really? You get kind of down. So, I think that that's a really a natural human response to any exciting event being at its conclusion.
Mm-hmm. What are some things that you recommend for preventing that or getting out of that funk?
I think that a big part of it is that when you compete, you have to do this. You do your cardio, you do your training, you take care of your nutrition, and the rest of the time you think about something else. And that's so difficult, especially for newer competitors, because it's new to you, you're excited, you're making a life change, you're doing all these things. It's so easy to get so wrapped up that that's all you have on your mind. We have women that write and they're just spinning because all they can think about is competing. I always tell them, do what you got to do and then think about something else. Continue with the rest of your life. Continue living. Then when that show's over, it won't be such a downer because you won't have all of a sudden this completely changed life. So continue living your life within your prep, and that should help considerably.
It's a good tip. All right, what's your take on the social media trend of suffering metabolic damage after competing in a bikini competition? And also, why aren't we hearing about fitness figure competitors or bodybuilders suffering the same?
Ooh, that's a good question, Miss Lamb. Here's my take on that, and really, this is all I really want to say about it. You know, as I'm getting my PhD, I have full access to my university's library, including medical journals. I've done extensive searches for the term metabolic damage, which have come up completely blank. Nowhere in any medical journal from any university, anywhere in the world, have I found the term metabolic damage. Now, there's metabolic syndrome, which is a condition suffered by a lot of obesity patients, which is completely different. This whole metabolic damage term, if I could find something about it in medical journals, I would address it. Since it's not in any medical journals anywhere, I really don't think it's worth discussing.
Okay, then. And how did you learn how to coach competitors?
Goodness, that that just came over time. I've been, I ever since I was in college, I was a boss. I always had employees. I've had employees forever. I've been in business for myself since I was 28 years old. So knowing how to deal with staff and employees and helping them grow, I think really helped in the coaching arena. And also just really listening to women and understanding where they're coming from. I think that is a big part of coaching, is that you have to be able to get in their head and understand where they're coming from. Yes, it's a physical thing, and you have to have the correct cardio and training and nutrition. However, there's such a emotional component to it, meaning you have to understand where they're coming from in order to get the best out of them.
Mm. What do you think are some red flags if someone's shopping around for a coach, what should they look out for?
I just think that find someone who's had success, find someone who's actually worked in, if you're a competitor, make sure they've worked in the competition industry, that they've had successful clients, that they've had clients long term. We've had a lot of our bombshells for 5, 6, 7 years. Make sure they have some clients that have been with them long term. I think that's a great way to kind of figure out where they've been.
Mm. All right, teams have grown in popularity, and I feel like Bombshell has really led this trend. Do you think that there are any benefits to working with a team as opposed to with a single coach, and vice versa?
I got to tell you, the whole team thing really makes me giggle, because years ago, and no one really knows this because I don't really discuss this, but years ago, there were no such thing as teams. There were a few trainers out there, coaches that had large numbers of clients, but they didn't organize them in a team fashion. It wasn't done. So with my background in the NFL, when I got ready to take my first group of girls to nationals in 2009, I had this great idea. I said, okay, I'll do the cheerleader effect. Well, the cheerleader effect is you get women in matching outfits and everybody thinks they're way hotter than they really might be. I mean, think about it. Whenever you see women in matching outfits, wow, they must be really great. So so I put our girls that were going to nationals that year, this is really funny. One of them was our first group. It was Jennifer Strobo. It was Jamie Baird from Fitness RX now. It was Mary Dupro. And it's just funny. They're all still with me, but I put them in matching outfits and I took them to nationals and I called them Team Bombshell. Everybody went nuts. Their pictures were everywhere. And I was like, ooh, we got something here. So, so I kept buying more matching outfits, and then we added girls, and that's really where the whole team thing came from. And then before I know it, there's team this and team that and team, now supplement companies have teams, and I'm like, holy mama, wow. Well, so we actually were the original, which always makes me giggle. But, I like the fact the reason I did Team Bombshell in the beginning wasn't for any other reason but the cheerleader effect, because I thought they look hot in matching outfits. It was really that superficial at the time. It's obviously evolved into something much greater. And, I think that the camaraderie between the women, having someone who you can enjoy this with. This could be a very lonely venture, competing can be very lonely, and it's a choice we make, but it also can be a lonely choice. So the whole team concept gives you a sense of belonging. It gives you people that you can hang out with at the shows. It gives you a way to make friends in a world which, as women, once we're past high school and college, it's very difficult to make friends. So, if they want to, people want to go do team blah blah, more freaking power to them. I think it's great.
All right. What have been your biggest challenges when it comes to managing such a large team of women?
The funny thing is I really don't even think of it that way. I have an amazing staff. Internally, in-house, we have 18 staff members. Most people probably don't realize that. We have 18 people that make this machine go. And, not a lot of people realize the depth of it. And it's kind of funny. We had a staff meeting the other day, and I sat and I looked around the table, and I said, do you think anybody realizes that it takes all of you guys to do this? And they were like, no way, no one knows that. But, I don't think about the numbers. I never have thought about the numbers. Each girl that walks through our door is an individual. Each girl that sends in her pictures to her coach is an individual. And what most people probably don't realize too is that, let's say a girl sends in her pictures and the coach is like, man, I don't know what to do with her. She'll forward it to all the other coaches, including myself, and we all chime in to help this one girl out. So, the girls get a lot more attention than people would probably ever think. The girls getting ready for shows that, are bigger shows or nationals or whatever. I tell my coaches, make sure you send me your pictures. Make sure you send me those pictures just so I can keep an eye on them. If there's a girl that's really struggling, we talk about it in a meeting, and I'll ask the coach a few days later, how's so-and-so doing? So really, as long as you think of your girls as individuals and not a number, it's not something that's really ever been an issue.
All right, there's a lot of controversy surrounding your name at Bombshell for a lot of different reasons. You obviously don't let it affect you to the point of letting it stop whatever it is that you're doing. I feel like you can offer great insight to other women who put themselves out there, especially with social media, when it comes to dealing with naysayers and haters. So how do you deal with it and stay focused? Or do you even care?
Oh, that controversy makes me sound very exciting. I sound way more exciting than I really am, let me tell you. No, here's what's funny, Mira, is when Bombshell first started finding some success, I had a very wise woman in this industry walk up to me and say, I hope you're ready for the storm that's about to come. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, you keep doing what you're doing. She said, you watch. She goes, people are going to be gunning for you sooner than you think. And I thought, that's silly, whatever. So, well, it was interesting. The first couple pro cards that Bombshell got, everyone on the internet was all, oh, how cute. The girl coach got a couple pro cards. We think that's so great. She's so wonderful. She's the greatest thing in the world. Then we got a few more. And it was like, oh, hey, that girl coach got a few more pro cards. Then a few more came. And it was, what's that girl coach doing that she's getting pro cards? So it was the turn was very quick, and it's to be expected. Just like the woman that kind of warned me about it was very correct. And it's kind of funny. I see her at a lot of the shows, and she'll say, "How's that storm coming?" I'm like, "I'm weathering it." But here's the funny thing: is that people that are if you're going to look for success, you better be ready that when you find it, you're going to have people that hate you for it. And it's really too bad. And it's really a sad kind of commentary on the human race a little bit. But it's something that you have to just live with. In the beginning, like I said, I'm not an emotional girl. I used to cry when I read the stuff people wrote about me because it was so false and untrue. And then I kind of woke up one day and I said, you know what? If I were doing it right, they wouldn't be talking anyway. So screw it. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. And, I know how I run my company. I know the quality of what we put out there. I know that what we do is sound, and I believe in the core values of what we're doing. That's all that matters. I sleep very well at night. We take great care of our girls. We do great things for them. And it's not just me, it's my staff, and I couldn't do it without them. They are phenomenal, and they truly care about the girls, and they truly care about helping them be better. And when you run your company that way and everyone around you has that same thing in mind, how could you worry about what people say that don't get it, or just looking for something to be negative because they don't understand where your success is coming from? We work extremely hard here.
Mm-hmm.
And I work my ass off. My staff works their ass off. We care about these girls. And if we didn't, like I said, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. It's not my makeup. It's not what I'm made of. Success brings critics, and that's okay. And critics also can keep you on your toes, because without critics, it would be easy to go off course, and it would be easy to, maybe not care as much because you're just going with the day to day. You know what I mean? Instead of looking at the big picture, you're just going with the day to day. Critics keep you in check. Am I doing the right thing? Am I taking care of my girls? If the answer is yes, perfect. Keep moving forward. If there's always more we can do better, we're always striving to be better. We're not perfect. We're always looking to be better. And those critics keep us pushing forward to be better. So if a woman is looking for success, be prepared. You're going to have a bleep storm come at you, but that's okay, because as long as you can sleep at night knowing that you're doing the right thing and that you're doing your best to whatever it is you're offering, whatever product or service, as long as you know that it's sound and right, it's okay. Let those haters kind of push you to be better. It's all in how you look at it.
Mm. All right, I want to talk about sponsorships, since a lot of competitors are always looking out for those. Could you break down what women can and can't expect from sponsorships in this industry?
Oh, geez. Well, if you think you're going to get rich by being a competitor, then you're in the wrong game, because that ain't going to happen. Sponsorships are great because they get you some recognition. They can get your name out there. But if you think that you are going to quit your job and live off your sponsorship, then yeah, not so much. A lot of sponsorships are for product, and girls don't understand that. They trade their time for product. And that's okay. Shoot, if I were a supplement company and I had people that wanted to give me their time for product, I think I'd do it. No, it's no fault of the supplement company because people are willing to do it. So, you have to understand that no one, not even Miss Olympia, is making a great living off of her sponsorships. It's just not there. The money's not there. And as the magazine industry has more trouble, as we all know, print media has trouble now that the internet is so big. Those opportunities are even less. So don't do it for a sponsorship. If it's something that you get and it gets you a little extra publicity and you get some supplements off it or a couple bucks here or there, great. But don't make it your focus or think that, okay, well, I'm going to go win a show and then people are going to be knocking down my doors to give me money. It's not quite how it works.
Mm. All right. For someone who does want a sponsorship, what's the best way to approach a company, or would you recommend waiting to be approached?
No, what's funny is when I got my pro card, I remember walking off the stage and I thought all these people were going to, be coming up to me and talking to me and want to take my picture. Nobody even looked twice at me after I walked off that stage. It's just, it's the reality of it. And if you do want a sponsorship and you do want to, you can make some money working booths on the weekends. The best way to approach a company is tell them what you can do for them. There's plenty of pretty faces out there that can stand around a booth. Those are a dime a dozen. But how many women can say, I know X, Y, and Z about your product. I can do this. I can do that. When I work your booth, I'll get there early to help you set up. I'll leave at the end of the day to help you take down. I will learn everything there is about your product and I will sell, sell, sell. That's how you approach them. Not, I'm pretty, look at me, give me money. It ain't going to cut it. Mm-hmm. So if you can offer them something, if you can be a great worker, if you can be knowledgeable and actually sell their product, then that's somebody they're going to want to invest in.
Excellent. All right, you coach a lot of beautiful girls, competitors, and fitness models. So, what are your top three beauty tips for stage, a photo shoot, or everyday life?
Oh geez, the biggest one is exfoliating your skin. I cannot tell you how important it is to exfoliate your skin. And it's so funny. I actually learned this when I was a kid, back from listening to Christy Brinkley. She said that she scrubbed her skin every single day. And I remember I thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world and I wanted to be like her. So I started scrubbing my skin when I was very young. And I tell you what, it makes a huge difference. And whenever I get women to start using facial scrubs, using body scrubs, exfoliating their skin, if you take the skin off, it's gotta regenerate and grow back.
Hmm.
So exfoliating your skin is huge. Moisturizing your skin, making sure that before you get out of the shower that you're putting some type of moisturizing oil on your skin. Anything to keep that skin moisturized is huge. And also a big one is just staying out of the sun. And that sounds so counterproductive. We're especially in the competitive world, it's about being in bathing suits and all this and that. But keep that skin out of the sun. Wear sunscreen. Even if you're darker complected, wear sunscreen to protect yourself from those harmful rays that can cause aging.
Mm. All right, I want to know more about you, Shannon. So, who is
Mm.
your fitness inspiration?
Oh, geez. You know what? Lord help me, I hate to say this. I really don't have anyone except all our girls. I mean, all of our bombshells on a daily basis
Mm.
to get my butt out of bed and get in cardio. But, I don't really pay attention when anybody else does. And I do that on purpose. So I really don't, besides our girls and what we do, I don't even know who's out there. And I'm sure there's somebody pretty cool. I just don't know who they are.
All right, what about when you just started competing yourself? Did you have any inspiration then?
Oh my goodness. The only competitor I really knew was Lavina Tooley, the girl that I cheered with. And she was the one that I watched and learned everything from on what it meant to be a competitor. She actually is training competitors in Kansas, where we're from still. So I think she's got a pretty good group out there. And yeah, she was my one.
Okay. Would you describe fitness as your life, or would you say it's an aspect of your life that makes you the best version of yourself?
Oh my. Um, You know, Fitness is a very important aspect of my life. It is not my life. I tell you, girl, if I go on vacation, my ass is not one of those that is making sure I have to get to the gym. I have to get to the gym. Forget that. I train well, actually, I train 3 days a week now. I'm using our new program, the Bombshell Booty program, as a 3 day a week weight training, 5 day a week cardio. I do that. I do my cardio every day. I do my weight training 3 days a week, and I just started doing some other fun things on the side, like rollerblading and silly stuff like that. And it's a big part of my lifestyle, but I really don't believe it should be anyone's life because there's more to life than working out. I believe that it's something that you should incorporate greatly. Even when you're a competitor, you have to have other things in your life, whether it's a career, your family, all those things. You have to maintain and I don't like the word balance. I don't know why. For some reason, that word bothers me. I like to say you have to remain multifaceted in your life, meaning you can't just be fitness, 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 fitness. You have to have other aspects. Fitness can be a great complementary part of your life, but it can't be all there is to life.
Well said. All right, where do you go to find your sources of fitness information to stay up to date with current research?
Well, what's funny is the exercises and everything we do here at Bombshell, I make those up on my own. That's why they have crazy names because I make the stuff up. I play around with it to find out what body part it hits, and then go from there. But as far as scientific information, I'm lucky to have my university library that I have full access to, and so I can do research there on pretty much anything I need to find out the actual real deal. There's so much misinformation on the internet that you can't really go by that as your source. So, like I said, I'm lucky enough to have access to my university library where I can get the real truth from the scientific journals.
Hmm. What is your proudest accomplishment, and what did it take for you to achieve it?
Oh my goodness, I don't think I'm there yet. I'm one of those people that I never believe that anything is the best you can be. You always need to be striving for more. And sometimes maybe that's a bad thing because I'm always striving to be better and make the company better and give more to our girls. So, I don't think I've gotten there quite yet to my proudest accomplishment. Hopefully that'll come before I'm dead. But I do think that one moment that I'll never forget was just this December at our last BombCon. I stood on the stage and I looked out over, there were more than 250 beautiful, amazing women who had just spent the weekend together, working together, to help each other become better. And wow, that moment standing there, that really hit me. That was very powerful to look out at all of them. And I was so proud, not that I had anything to do with it, but proud that I brought them together. They took it from there. Mm-hmm. So that was a pretty amazing moment, and it really lit my fire to continue what we're doing and make it even better.
BombCon was awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that we're working on our next one in July, so hopefully it'll be even bigger and better. So hope to see you there.
Yeah. What is the one habit you wish you had because it would take you to the next level?
I wish I could sleep less. I wish I was one of those people that can sleep like 3-4 hours and be awesome. I have to get 7 hours or I'm no good. So I wish I could sleep less because I could have more fun. I could get more done. I mean, I think of all the great things I could do if I had that extra 3-4 hours in a day, but it's just not happening.
All right. Is there a book you read that you think that everyone should read?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to be embarrassing here.
Okay.
I don't read stuff to learn. I say no more learning, please. I learn enough. I learn enough in school. I learn enough by having to learn new things about the company. I learn enough by researching about fitness things in the library. I don't want to learn when I read. I want to be entertained. So I read a lot of novels on my phone. I have Kindle on my phone. Mm-hmm. And whenever I'm waiting in line, whenever I'm at the walking through the airport, whenever I'm getting my nails done, whatever it is, I'm reading a novel, and they are not anything that anyone would learn a darn thing from. But I get it in. It's really funny. I'm a speed reader. I can finish a novel in an hour. So I go through a lot of books, and it's my little guilty pleasure.
All right. What was the last book that you read?
Let's see. Jeez. I just finished, there's a new Stephen King it's called Revival. Mm-hmm. And then I'm big on Lincoln Child novels, so I'm on one of those. So yes, in any given day, I'm in the middle of something completely ridiculous.
Okay. Shannon, do you have a favorite quote?
What's funny is I don't really have a favorite quote that I keep on my desk or anything like that, but something that goes through my head a lot. And again, this is kind of, I don't know, Lord help me for telling everybody this, but there's an old 80s song that was a Don Henley song called How Bad Do You Want It? I don't know if you heard that. It was Don Henley, and he says, how bad do you want it? Not bad enough. And so whenever I'm tired or I'm, frustrated or exhausted or whatever, I think in my head, how bad do you want it? And if you're not going to do it, you don't want it bad enough. So that song starts going through my head, and then I realize I want it bad enough, so I'm going to keep going. So that's kind of my go-to thing that pops in my head is that 80s song, how bad do you want it? Well, but not bad enough. And I think, well, darn it, I do want it bad enough. So that kind of pushes me when, it gets a little hairy and trying at times, but just thinking that how bad do you actually want it? And then going for it really makes a difference.
You can tell a lot about a person by looking at their friends. So what types of people do you spend most of your time around?
You know what? Quite honestly, I work so much and I travel so much, especially starting here in a couple weeks. I spend a lot of time around the fitness community. Simply that's because that's my proximity. I spend a lot of time around my staff, and they're all amazing women. I have one guy on my staff, and it's not really by design. It just kind of happened that way. I have all women and one male staff member. So I spend a lot of time around my staff. Jen Strobo and I giggle that we're basically married because we travel to a lot of the same shows. Mm-hmm. So I'm around her quite a bit. But, in my personal life, I have, a pretty amazing significant other who's also a businessman with a lot of, he has a very extensive business background. He's, successful in that way. And so that's a nice kind of thing to have to, bounce off each other in that he understands the demands on my time. He understands where I'm coming from. It's nice to have somebody to talk business with outside of business. But yeah, that's, the people that I'm around are ones that understand. And I don't, that's a tough question, Miss Me. You're good at this. That's tough.
All right, if you could restart it all, what would you have done differently, or what three things do you wish you had known before getting started in business?
I wouldn't have changed a thing. And I got to tell you, has it been puppy dogs and rainbows all the way? Absolutely not. I've had my share of big adversity. I've had, I've been in business for a long time, even previous to Bombshell. I've had failures. I've had great successes. I've had everything in between. I've had times where, I made a great living and then I had times where I was pulling coins out of the sofa to buy lunch, so I've been through all of it, and I would not change a thing because I don't really trust anyone who hasn't failed. And I actually learned that quote from a great friend of mine who's also an advisor of mine in business. And she said that to me, and I picked up on that immediately, because you have to have failed at some point to understand what to do with success. And once you failed, if you find success, you fight to keep it. Because just because you're successful today doesn't mean you're going to be successful tomorrow. It can go in an instant. You have to fight to stay where you are, and you have to fight to get better. So, through the failures and through the things that have gone wrong, I've really learned what it takes. I've learned what to do, what not to, and I'm happy with all of that. And at the same time, one of the things I do like to tell people is that when you experience failure and when things don't go right, that's because that's not where you're supposed to be. And I would not be here right now with Bombshell. I'm going to give you a little example, and I don't mean to go off track here.
Okay.
When I competed, my very first pro show was in 2004. And after the first two rounds, I was in either second or third by how we got called out. And everybody was saying around me, oh my gosh, because back then the top three went to the Olympia. Everybody was saying, oh my gosh, you're going to go to the Olympia. You're going to go to the Olympia. Your routine's your strongest point. I hadn't done my routine yet. Your routine's your strongest. You could win the routine round. You could win this whole show as a rookie. I mean, the buzz was everywhere. So, and back then we had 4 rounds for fitness. So the show was 2 days. So my routine round was Saturday morning. And I was so excited and ready to rock. And my routine was phenomenal. I get up on stage, I do a toe touch, and I tear my hamstring in 3 places.
Oh.
It was like a gun went off. I tried to keep going, and my leg gave out and I crumpled to the ground. The photographers are freaking out, screaming, oh my God, I heard it pop, I heard it pop. I had to crawl off stage, and I was done. So I remember sitting in the back of the auditorium with ice on my leg, crying, why me? Why me? Why is this happening to me? Why did this happen to me? I could have gone to the Olympia. Well, guess what? Now that I look back, if I would have gone to the Olympia, I wouldn't have stopped. I would have kept trying to get higher placing, higher. It would have never been enough. And if I would have done that, I would not have had the time or the interest in building my business. So Bombshell would not be here today if I had not torn my hamstring on that day.
Wow.
So, that's just one example. And I think if we all look back on our lives, we can see those examples. We can see, man, when that didn't work out, or, when that person, if you were married and it didn't work out, or if you, had someone, your great love of your life didn't love you back, guess what? You wouldn't be where you are now if that would have happened. And you're probably in a pretty good place right now, even if there are difficulties. So, I would not change a single thing. Has it all been wonderful? Absolutely not. There have been some pretty shitty things that have happened. Oops, I said you can bleep me out.
Yeah.
But it's all worth it because it all brings you to where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. So now, what are you currently excited about? What's in store for Shannon Dey or Bombshell Fitness this year?
Oh my goodness. I'm excited about some of the new programs that we're launching. We just launched this booty program for women who want the bombshell curves, but maybe don't want all the muscle that don't, that don't want to be a competitor. So that's an amazing new program that's gotten great response. We just launched that. We have some other programs in the works that I'm not going to tell what they are yet because it's a surprise. But we do have some new exciting things in the future. I just want to keep growing the company, and I want to keep spreading the word. You know what I mean? I want to keep spreading what we do because I believe in it. And I think a lot of other people do too. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. Do I know everything? No, I'm still learning, but that's the point. And I'm excited to keep getting better.
What is a question you wish most people would ask you?
Um, I think that I would like people to ask why I do what I do. Because on the surface, it looks very surface. It looks like, it's a fitness company. You run this company. You try to make a living. Da da da. That's what it looks like. And of course, the center and the core of our company is fitness. The core is the workouts, the nutrition, the cardio, the plans, the coaching, the all that. Of course, is the core. But I would, if people ask me why I do what I do, and it's so funny because I really, I'm not a BSer. I'm not full of it. I don't say things just to say it. I truly, truly want women to realize their potential. That to me is, I feel like that's my purpose. I want women to understand just how powerful they are by being them. And women are so critical on themselves, and they're so inward because they criticize every little flaw that they perceive they have, and they're so hard on themselves that they don't allow themselves to get out there and inspire people by just being them. Women, I believe that women now, they can have it all, and if they can look past their self-perceived flaws and realize their value, they can do pretty amazing things. I truly believe that, and that's really what I want them to see through changing their body. By changing their body, they can change their mind. And on another note, I'm very proud of the diversity of my company. I'm very proud that we have brought women together of all different ages, races, ethnicities, religions, backgrounds, you name it, we've got it. And we brought them together to do positive things. And in this scary world where the isms are all we see on the news, and hatred and just, if you're different from me, I don't like you. And that doesn't exist in this bombshell world. And it was so funny because I had someone recently say to me, you live in such a bubble. Look at your staff. My staff, I have just about every ethnicity you can think of on my staff. And we all respect each other's differences. But we realize at the end of the day, we're all very much the same, and we all just want to be better. We want to be the best we can be. We want to be happy. We want to inspire others. So, long story short, I'm sorry to have gone off on a tangent there, but at the end of the day, I wish people would ask me why I do this, because it's not just to give somebody a nice butt. I mean, that's wonderful. That's a great thing to have. God love us. And, to me, that, I like that too. But there's so much more to what we do than just that.
Mm-hmm. In line with that, it's also the last question, what is the best advice you can give to women who are looking to live their lives more boldly and with strength?
Believe in yourself and don't worry about what anybody else says. At the end of the day, if you know you're doing the right thing, and you know in your heart if you are or not, really, we can fool ourselves only so far, but we know in our heart if what we're doing is right or it's not. If you know in your heart that your path is the path you should be on at the moment, don't worry about what anybody else says. Don't worry about the haters. And so many women actually stop their journey because they feel like they don't have any support. Well, no one supports me. Support yourself. Be your own cheerleader, because as strong, independent women, you're going to find that there's going to be times you're going it alone. I'm sorry, it doesn't sound glamorous and it doesn't sound fun, but there's going to be times that you're going to have to go it alone and rely on nobody but you. If you believe in yourself and you believe in your vision, you can push through that with flying colors. So, it's a never stop believing in your vision. It'll shift, it'll change, it'll grow over the years. That's okay. But if at your core you believe in what you're doing, nothing else really matters.
Awesome. So we're going to end with that. Thank you so much for talking to us today, Shannon. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm really excited about this show. I think you're going to do great. I love it.
If you'd like to find out more about Shannon or Bombshell Fitness, head on over to bombshellfitness.com. And don't forget to always be bold, be strong, and let your beauty shine.